Well, first of all, the real question is, what value added are these SML guys bringing to the system, real? And what should be the remuneration if they are actually bringing value added? I think those are the questions that should be answered. And first of all, from my understanding of this industry, and I have worked since 1985 in this industry. I have climbed tanks, I've done volume, I've worked on the gantry, I've discharged products from ships. So we know all the tricks in the system. We know what we can do and what we can't do. When we got to NPA, we decided to address issues that were of concern to the players, including the customers, under-reporting, under-delivering, product contamination. That's the main gist of it. So NPA, and my belief is that we should build institutions. We should make sure that the regulator is working with the right petroleum service providers to provide solutions, and they should be paid or remunerated accordingly, not excessively, but accordingly. So BRV tracking, this is the bulk rod vehicles, the tankers, we put a tracking device on them. And we got all the OMCs and transporters to subscribe to it. That means that you would know where your tanker is at any time. If they're stopped on scheduled stop, you would know. The next thing was, how do we ensure the volume in the tankers are not reduced during the journey? So we put in volumetric tracking systems. This, I believe, has been replaced by an electronic cargo system where electronic seals of the hatches and valves are used. So we're addressing the problem of short delivering to the petrol stations and short delivering to the consumer, making sure the right products were done. The next thing we did was we had to ensure that the volumes that were coming into the country were the same volumes that were being delivered. And as such, the government was getting the right revenue. I do not understand why NPA, first of all, would allow a non-service provider to put flow meters in depots without being licensed. I don't understand it. If you're a player in the industry, you have to be licensed, and as such, NPA should know what you're doing. For NPA to say they do not know what the guys are doing, or they don't have a clue, or they're not associated with it, it's wrong. NPA is the regulator, and there's nobody in this country, not even the president, can order these people to do it without NPA approving.
Why do you describe them as a non-service provider? Because the service they are providing, is for tax purposes.
They are a service provider. They are not a non-service provider. They are PSP. They are a petroleum service provider. If you put a flow meter in a depot, you are providing a service, and as such, you should be under the NPA. You should be licensed by NPA.
Even if your job was technically not about this industry, but for the finances of it, for audit assurance.
You still are, because you have to ensure that the health and safety of the equipment you are bringing into the system complies with the regulations of the country. So you are providing a service. So you have to be regulated by the NPA. So NPA should know about it.
Kindly hold on a second for me. Richard, what do you say to this?
Yeah, a good one. I think Alex Mould have just nailed the matter. Just like I was speaking about Mustafa Hamid issue. If he doesn't know us, we can never get there. And if we have not gone through the process of who does what, and there is any duplication of effort, we wouldn't have been there in the first place, which will go into the details. Number two, remember, if we have not got the right ISO certifications and the requirement thereof that NPA must certify before we get there, we wouldn't have been there in the first place. So please, all those things as Alex have put out there, all these things are in place.
The question is being asked as to whether you were actually qualified for this contract in the first place. Your MD tells the investigators that you were a timber company that has now changed into this, but there's no proving track record. How did you get selected through sole sourcing?
Something when it comes to matters of procurement, please, I'm begging you. I'm a technical person. I'm going to deal with issues on under declaration and everything, the business case of SML to defy those duplicitous issues. Please don't push me into this.
No, I'm not going, Richard, I'm not going into the technical aspect. I just want us to stay around maybe section 40 of the Procurement Act about single source procurement. There are grounds to give a contract in this situation. The law says where goods, works, or services are only available from a particular supplier or contractor, or if a particular supplier or contractor has exclusive rights in respect of the goods, works, or services, and no reasonable alternative or substitute exists. We are aware from Ben Boachi and the rest of them. They say they don't know you in the industry.
Something, I'll plead with you. If you ask procurement question and you do subsequent ones, followed up, I'm not having that capacity. I'm pleading with you. Don't let us go into procurement now here.
Okay. Thanks for clarifying why I brought you in on Alex Mould's submission. Okay, so Alex, continue with your submission. What do you think ought to be done from what you're seeing? What do you see and what do you think ought to be done?
So I think the NPA has a plan. And when I talk about NPA, I'm not talking about whether it's NDC or MPP. It's NPA. NPA has a plan, and we're trying to execute it. And I believe one of the things that we're trying to do is volume integrity, okay, for both the consumer and also for government. So one thing you have to do is you have to do a material balance. All the products that enters the country enters through the CBM or the jetty, either in Tema or Takrady, and it's placed in the tanks. So there are various ways you monitor to make sure that the volumes are right. Every month there is tank verification, that the volumes in the tanks are verified, and everybody's involved. GRA through customs is involved, the tank depot owners are involved, the product owners are involved, the independent inspectors are involved, NPA is involved, everybody's involved in ensuring that we know what the volumes are. At the end of the day, you do a material balance of how much product you brought into the country, how much you have discharged through the meters at your gantry, and how much is done. By the way, this is done by the product depots on a daily basis, but on a monthly basis, everybody gets involved and does it. And every half year, we do a huge reconciliation.
Yes.
So reconciliations have been done, and it's been done in the industry all the time.
I'm sorry we have run out of time. What's your sense of this contract and what should be done?
Well, what should be done is, one, NPA should be in charge of this. NPA put an EDRMS system in place which verifies all the volumes. These volumes are reconciled with GRA on a daily basis and on a monthly basis. So there is no volume lost, and it should be integrated in the GRA system, which I believe is the ICUM system, which is already done. So NPA instituted this in 2017 and integrated it into GRA in 2018. Since then, the reconciliations have been okay. There has not been any shortfall. So I don't know what the added value SML is bringing to the table. And I do not know how they reconcile their remuneration. The remuneration should be based on your fixed cost versus your variable cost. And if there is any added value you bring to it, you should only be paid for the value added, not for the full volume that we are already. And this brings to my issue of smuggling. Smuggling has been done and is being done mainly at the fishing harbor and at the harbors where the large volumes come in with the collusion of the harbor masters and security forces. And also, it has to be said that somebody high up in Jubilee House must be involved because these operators cannot allow that to be done. My understanding that this smuggling has gone down since 2017 to 2018, and the volumes are far lower. We should ensure that we stop doing that. If GRA believes that its custom officers at the depots are colluding with the tank operators and with the oil marketing companies, then they should ensure that they have good personnel at these depots, because I don't think the flow meters or anything is going to solve
All
the
right.
problem if we don't have good
Thank you.
personnel.
Thank you very much.
Reconciliation is the way to go. They
Thank you
must
very much.
reconcile.
Alex Mould is former CEO of the GMPC. He's a finance and energy advisor.